All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. It's just after high noon. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Conveniently enough, on this Tuesday, September 10, 2024, we've lots of activity over the next 3 hours. I hope you're able to spend every single moment with us. If not, don't worry. We podcast the show. We present the show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch as well. More on that in just a moment. At 3 o'clock today, we'll hand off to Brian Wilson. He is live and in person at Cedar Creek Scoreboard. Cedar Creek, I should say it correctly. Scoreboard Cedar Creek for the big debate festivities. We're getting that cranked up and started at about 3 o'clock this afternoon. For some reason, what do people do in here that screws up the volume and the mic? I don't understand. Well, I blame Mandis. I know Chris Hand is right before me, but I'm going to go ahead and blame Dan Mandis because why not? That's what we do. Anyway.
Always go with the safer bet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It is episode 648 of our proceedings today. My name is Matt, as I mentioned. That's the voice of Vel K. He's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. Executive producing the broadcast, screening your telephone calls, etc. Behind him in News Closet B is Ken Weaver. He's busily gathering headlines as we speak.
Oh.
As we speak.
I'm busy as a one-legged man in a
butt kicking contest.
Yeah.
You're big. You're more nervous than a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. That's all I got. Hey, Ken, how's it going?
Going all right, man.
Hey, by the way, I meant to ask you yesterday. How has it's been, a week now?
Yeah.
Almost a week of not getting up at the butt crack of before dawn?
Stupid o'clock, we
call it.
Yeah.
That has to be pretty good. Going to bed when you want to.
Yeah.
Not when you have to.
Yeah, dude, I loved it. I mean, I'm digging it. I was able to watch all 2 hours of the latest episode of Naked and Afraid last night.
Are you into that?
Oh, yeah, I love that show.
My wife and I watched it for a long time, and I haven't seen it in the last few seasons. It it got to the point where, how long are you really going to... Didn't they get out there for like 60 days at one point?
Dude, that's where they're at right now. They have a couple of challenges where they're at 60 days. Right now, there's a new group of legends that it's called the Last One Standing. And so they've got about 45 days. I think they're in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone from 12 to now there are 6 that are left. And the contestants have gotten wiser as the years have gone on, because now they're actually killing animals and then making themselves clothes.
Uh-huh.
So, there's not a lot of naked and afraid running around. You're just afraid.
Well, I would be. You're partially clothed and mildly nervous.
Yes, yeah. Now you still got elephants and rhinos and tigers and things like that. And hippos. Hippos kill more humans than any other animal in Africa.
So that show started where they would just drop people in random places, and there's always something that can kill you. I get it.
Yeah, spiders,
there's always a spider or a snake or whatever.
Yeah.
But where it got a little inside, when you're not top of the food chain in your environment, and by a significant margin, when there are Africa's the place I'm talking about, where there are multiple different types of animals that are not only able to kill you, but that are hunting you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'll tap out on that.
I'm not about that. Just sitting up a couple of thorny bushes as your boma.
Yeah.
That's not going to keep a hippo out.
No.
Hippo's going to go right through that.
The dude that's weirdest, we watched the show enough. I don't know the names, but I know them by face.
I know who you're talking about.
The one that eats the rotten meat?
Yeah, that's Gary.
See, that guy is just the one. He climbed up the tree and got the honeycomb, the bee.
Yeah.
He got the stuff from the bee, honey from the bees.
Yeah,
that guy's insane.
Yes, he
mentally
is.
Insane.
Yeah, he ate some spoiled meat in this one too.
See, you would think you'd learn your lesson, right? I feel that's his way of tapping out. Let me just eat this spoiled meat. I'll get a stomachache, and off I go.
Here's the thing. He didn't get sick this time. His buddy Fernando did.
Oh, man.
But, Gary, man, he just kept on going.
I'll starve first. I'm not eating spoiled meat. I'm not eating meat that's just been sitting there with flies all over. I'm just not doing it.
I'm not going on a show called Naked and Afraid. Now, if it
the
gets
only
down
thing
to
that's
it,
spoiled here is you.
By the way, Ken Weaver, you probably know the answer to this question. Bell, I don't know about now because, now things have changed. But originally when the show started, Naked and Afraid, if you don't know what we're talking about, I apologize, but it's a show where contestants go on and they have to take off all their clothes and they only get like 2 items and they have to survive for a certain amount of days in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's Survivor with nudity.
Right. You know how much money the winner got paid, Bell?
$25,000.
Mm-hmm. Ken, do you know how much they get paid?
$100,000.
Now they do.
Yeah.
When the show started.
Oh, when it started. Oh, God, I don't remember, man.
Nothing. Seriously. Their travel was paid for.
Yeah.
But that was it. It's just the pride of knowing that I hung out for 21 days naked in the forest.
Yeah. I'm not having my twigs and berries dangling out here amongst all the twigs and berries for free.
The worst part about it to me would be the bugs.
Oh, absolutely, man.
That getting eaten alive thing is secondary.
Whatever. If I get bitten by a moccasin and I die out there, whatever. But, the mosquitoes, man?
Yeah.
Chiggers? Oh.
Yeah. It's like after the first night, you look at these people, and, they've got pock marks all over.
All over them.
All over them. And some of those mosquitoes out there are carrying, parasites.
Ken, you and I could talk about this all show. We need to start a Naked and Afraid review. But the moments where it's pitch black, obviously they've got the cameras that are the night cameras, right?
Right.
But it's pitch black, and the camera comes up, and somebody says, something just crawled on me. That, no, man. I don't mind the big one. I don't mind snakes. I don't mind furries, I don't mind mammals, I don't mind tigers, I don't mind hippos, but scorpions and spiders and that kind of crap, no, sir.
No, sir.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm tapping out. I would do Partially Clothed and Mildly Annoyed. Now, that's a show I'd go on.
That'd be called Lower Broad.
I was going to say, or the Matt Murphy Show from noon to 3 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Bottoms are optional. That's right. It's 12:13, Super Talk 99.7. There's Ken Weaver. We got him back for the news, or whenever it breaks, or whenever he wants to break in. That's the way we do things. I'm very excited. I won't speak for anyone else, but are you pumped? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to get to Scoreboard Cedar Creek and watch the debate with us? The last time we did this, there was a lot of anticipation and excitement. I remember this as if it were yesterday. I'm elephantine. I can go back. On June 27th. I remember it like it was 3 months ago. We were all talking about how hopped up and ready to go and rearing to go Joe Biden was going to be. Y'all remember that? Remember, we said, now, Donald Trump doesn't need to take the bait. I just want to remind all of us our prognostications the last time around, and I'm right there with you. It serves the purpose to say that you never know what is going on. To illustrate the point, I will take us back to the morning of June 27th, where Matt Murphy, Dan Mandis, Chris Hand, we were all speculating along with you as to what might occur during the debate. Did any of us anticipate that? What happened? Now, I am not here to suggest that it will happen again. I am not here to suggest that Kamala Harris is not more able mentally and physically to stand on a stage and blather for 90 minutes. But what I would point out is that we never know what's going to happen. And all of the talking points regarding Donald Trump are exactly the same talking points that we were discussing on June 27th. Don't interrupt him too much. Allow him to hang himself. That the cutting off of the mic will actually be a positive benefit for Donald Trump. And we know that's the case because Kamala Harris tried to change that rule. It was the Democrats that embraced that rule. Y'all might not remember. It was Joe Biden, after Donald Trump, I'll debate you. What are you, a tough guy? Come on, buddy boy, I'll get you. I'll debate you. And he got what he wanted, didn't he? And he got his ass kicked, and he's now no longer in the presidential contest. Pardon me for the language. I apologize. Sometimes I can't help myself. I'm sorry if there are youngsters in the car. I don't think there should be. Thank you, Bill. So there was a lot of sound and fury leading up to the debate last time around, but included in all of that sound and fury on the part of the Democrats, there were a lot of rules. Rules like no audience members, because the Democrats felt like that would benefit Joe Biden. I mean, all of these rules were set up by Democrats and agreed to by Democrat media organizations like CNN and now ABC. No audience. The reason there is no audience is because the Democrats don't want an audience. The reason that mics get cut, that's because the Democrats thought that it would benefit them to cut Donald Trump's mic during the portion of the debate where he's not being asked a question. Because it backfired, boomeranged, if you will, so badly on Joe Biden to the point that he had to drop out of the race. He was so discombobulated, so out of it, he just stood there on stage in front of everybody and hung himself verbally. And because of that, Kamala Harris and the Democrats come back and say, oh, no, we want the mics on all the time. Reason being that Kamala Harris wants that slay queen moment. And I would expect, and that takes me to what I expect from her, yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. I expect that to happen. I am almost ready to declare 100% chance that regardless of what else happens, she will get in and I'm speaking. Donald, I'm speaking. Do you think she'll call him Donald? I mean, she will not call him Mr. President. I think she'll call him Donald.
Yeah, I think that's most likely.
So, by all accounts, by those that are supposedly in the know, the Trump camp is focusing on policy position and ideological switches on the part of Kamala Harris, which is pretty easy to do. It's only been the last, 4 years where she seemingly has switched on just about every major policy position in front of the United States of America today, with the exception of abortion. I mean, she's still on the abortion on demand until birth track, something that should be brought up tonight. I doubt it will be. So Trump is focused on policy. Trump is focused on not going after the easy attacks. Kamala Harris, I 100% guarantee you, has practiced her zingers. Oh, she's got some zingers. Guarantee you she does. Ready to go. Including I'm speaking. Watch for it, friends, as Kamala Harris attempts to take a zinger and fit it in where it doesn't belong. Just wait for it. You'll see. She has all of these practiced. Ooh, when he says something like this, you can say this. Or, ooh, when he says something like this, you can say this. Donald Trump does these things on the fly. When Donald Trump said during the first debate on June 27th, I don't know what he just said. I don't think anybody knows what he just said. I don't think he knows what he just said. But anyway, that's not Donald Trump practicing that remark. That just comes out of him. It's natural, and it came off naturally. I do not expect anything that Kamala Harris does tonight will come off naturally. All right, we'll get into all of that during the Libertarian Lunchtime Hour. I have a question for you. We're going to play a little game called Should and Would, or Should and Will. And I'm going to give you the option of telling me who you want to play for, Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. I'll explain the rules of the game in just a moment. We're going to crank this up at 1 o'clock today, because at 12:30 this afternoon, we're going to shift gears away from the presidential debate tonight and talk about September 11th and a very special event happening tomorrow night and a very special organization, the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. David Corlew will be in with us during the Libertarian Lunch discussing the event tomorrow night, the Patriot Awards Dinner tomorrow evening at City Winery, and the special nature of the event, some of the special guests coming up. David Corlew in studio with us at 12:35 this afternoon. You on the phones all day long, 615-737-9986. It is episode 648. It is Locks for Trump Day 192. If you want to see these luscious locks for yourself, you can come on out to Scoreboard Cedar Creek tonight. Festivities start at 3. I'll arrive around 5. The rest of the gang, Brian Wilson will be there in advance of the rest of the gang. We're doing the crossover thing where all of us will horn in on Wilson's show at 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock, our pre-debate party officially begins, and we will have a roundtable of discussion about what we anticipate for the 8 o'clock debate. We want you at Scoreboard Cedar Creek. It was a big time at Hop Springs last time around. It will be a big time this time around. Come on out and enjoy it. It's like a football game meets a debate watch party. That's what that's the way I feel about it, because there's a lot of cheering and a lot of jeering. Secondarily, you can see my locks. You can also meet the gang if you've never met us. Now, if you aren't able to get out, you can obviously watch the proceedings throughout the course of the day on Supertalk TV, and then you can listen tonight. The debate will be provided for you live at Supertalk 99.7 WTN for those of you away from a television. I mentioned it's episode 648. We're on television on Supertalk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Episode 648, Bell, is entitled
Matt Murphy. We are still trying to figure out who he favors in the debate tonight. Libertarian lunch, noon to 3. Cat and duck buffet.
all you can eat.
All you can eat.
I mean, you would think that all these childless cat ladies would be coming over back to Trump now that the liberals have decided that they're okay with Haitians cooking and eating cats. Why?
No. She didn't cook it.
Oh, that's right. And she might not be Haitian. That's what they're hanging their hat on. You're lying. She wasn't Haitian. So you're just skipping over the cat eating part and going right to her country of origin? That's what you're doing? Okay. All right, just keep moving those goalposts, Democrats. That's okay. It's 12:22, just getting underway. Libertarian Lunch on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Heartland Journal. When you're not enjoying Supertalk 99.7 WTN, when you're not enjoying our podcast, I would encourage you to head over to Heartland Journal and enjoy what they have to offer you on the homepage and the podcast page as well. Steve Abramowitz is the owner and CEO of Heartland Journal. He came to the state of Tennessee. He's a refugee from out on the shaky side, the left coast, and he came to Tennessee years ago and made home base Franklin, Tennessee, and he has created Heartland Journal to talk about matters of importance to you and me, those of us in the heartland of America, in places like Tennessee and the surrounding communities. Friends, I love the podcast. I love what Steve does. He brings on artists and cultural figures. He brings on political figures that he may agree or disagree with, that you may agree or disagree with, but he brings them on to provide that information and education for you, and you get to decide for yourself how you feel about it. Isn't that a novel approach? That's called journalism, friends, and it's right there at Heartland Journal. Go to heartlandjournal.com. That's heartlandjournal.com for more information. I heartily endorse and recommend the Heartland Journal. Check it out.
All right, still got a crash in Brentwood. It is blocking 2 lanes, 65 northbound at Concord Road. And we've had another mishap on the runway. We'll tell you about it at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. Coming up in a couple of minutes, David Corlew will be with us with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. What a wonderful organization. Great event happening tomorrow night. I believe that it's sold out. We gave away a few pair of tickets over the last several days, but it's just a wonderful awards banquet honoring those men and women that serve our veterans so graciously and so honorably. We'll talk more about that with David Corlew, who has just joined us in studio, coming up in just a moment. In the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to play a little bit of a game called Should and Will. I want to call it Should or Would, and maybe that's what I'll go with, but here's the way we play. You call us up, and you tell me what Trump should say tonight and what he will say tonight. So, and what the difference is between should and will are, or what Kamala Harris should say tonight versus what Kamala Harris will say tonight. Because there's a stark difference between what we ought to be hearing and what we will actually be hearing on the debate stage from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania tonight as Trump tries to dispatch of candidate number 2. You know, he took care of candidate number 1 quite effectively. They decided to have the debate as early as they did for a reason. I've been telling you for a long time. They wanted to have that debate when that debate happened for a reason. Joe Biden did not decide to do that himself. The Democratic powers that be, his senior advisory staff, decided to do that to make sure that he had the ability to stand up and campaign. And they decided that he did not. Everyone in America saw it clearly. When the vice president of the United States of America, who most liberals have decided has been a failure in that role, is your only choice, when Kamala Harris is your only choice coming out of that June 27th debate, it is nothing other than a butt whooping. And that's what happened. I don't expect that happens this time around. Kamala Harris, I don't know that she's very bright. She is tough, and she will give back as much as she gets. Whether that's effective for her or not remains to be seen. I believe that it is in the best interest of Donald Trump to focus policy. All he has to do, and he can attack her in this way without seeming like he's attacking her. Just focus on Kamala from 2019. And, you know, and anytime anything comes up, says, well, you said that you want all immigrants to come in and you want to shut down detention centers and you want to process them all and make them legal citizens. I assume that includes the Haitians that are eating cats in Ohio. You can ask her if that does. There's a way to pivot on every issue to where she was on it in 2019 because she is running away from, well, herself. She's running away from herself, and it's okay to change your mind. If I gave her the extreme benefit of the doubt, which I don't think she's changed her mind one single bit. I think she wants to win an election. I believe Bernie Sanders over the weekend said it correctly. Bernie Sanders was asked on one of the Talking Head Network shows on Sunday morning, you know, what about all of these changes in policy positions? And he basically said, look, she's trying to win an election. She hasn't changed her mind on any of this. She has to say what she needs to say to win an election. Bernie Sanders said on a national television program that Kamala Harris is lying to win an election. All right, more on that coming up in the 1 o'clock hour after we have a great conversation with David Corlew. And that's coming up after the news on Super Talk.
12:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we are still seeing a crash being worked 65 northbound at Concord Road. 2 lanes blocked there in Brentwood. Tracking the arrival of Tropical Storm Francine, expected to bring waves of rain to Middle Tennessee by Thursday. We start seeing more clouds tomorrow. Full forecast in 5 minutes. And right now in North Carolina, about a 15-mile drive east of Greensboro, a person who tried to rob a Brinks truck is dead. Police in Whitsett, North Carolina, say they got a call that a robbery was going down, and when they got there, the suspect had been shot. This is at the Stony Creek Village Shopping Center on Burlington Road there in Whitsett, again about 15 miles east of Greensboro, North Carolina. Another mishap on the runway in Georgia. Derek Dennis says 2 planes apparently collided on the tarmac in Atlanta.
A pilot on board Delta Flight 295 about to take off from Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport didn't immediately know what happened.
We just hit something on the taxiway. Could you tell us what it was?
That audio from Live ATC. Turns out the plane clipped the tail of another flight, knocking the tail off. Witnesses say the second plane was on an adjacent runway headed to Louisiana as the Delta flight was taxiing for takeoff to Tokyo. No injuries on board either flight. The FAA is investigating.
Wars overseas rage on. Ukraine continues to fire back into Russia, this time hitting near Moscow. Ian Panel in Kyiv says one drone hit an apartment building which killed one person.
Ukraine has launched one of the biggest drone attacks on Russia since the start of this war. At least 20 drones were shot down in the Moscow region alone, according to local authorities. Around 140 or more in all were fired into Russia.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State Antony Blinken says there's evidence Iran is providing arms to Russia and that the U.S. will announce extra sanctions on Iran soon. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Welcome back during the Libertarian Lunch, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. Pleased you decided to join us, whatever platform you're on the radio, 99.7 on your FM dial, from Southern Kentucky to Northern Alabama and all points in between. Of course, there's internet streaming. Anywhere you stream music or news or information or podcast, you can stream us. And if you can't, tell us and we'll get on that platform. But all you have to do is go to the search feature that you use and type in Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and there we are. And then, of course, there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Talk TV is up and running, and we appreciate you watching, and we appreciate U.S. Pest for bringing, in part, the proceedings on Talk Television to you. And Talk TV just got a lot prettier. There he is. It got a lot prettier because David Corlew has made an appearance. Not quite as pretty as it would have been if Tuffy were here, but it's pretty nice with you here. Hello, David Corlew. How are you?
Man, I'm good, and I'm better since getting to see you. I hadn't seen you in a while.
It's been a minute.
You're looking marvelous. I think
you look great.
A wellness clinic and
whatever,
eating papaya and cantaloupe. And,
who you got advising you on your hairdo? Because it's looking good.
My daughter.
I knew it wasn't you. Well, it's good.
It's a prison haircut.
It's good. It's good to see you and catch up.
Always.
And it's always a wonderful, wonderful discussion to talk about Charlie Daniels' Journey Home Project. We were just talking off air, and I want to kind of continue the discussion on air. That it's now been 4 years without Charlie,
right? And
it's your 10-year anniversary, and it didn't occur to me when I first came here 3 years ago, and you haven't said this, and I don't want to presume, but I imagine when we lost Charlie, there probably was some concern about losing the momentum of his vision, your vision, and the vision of the charitable foundation. And it has continued, it has thrived, and that is to your credit and the credit of all the many people that work so hard to make the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project what it is.
Yeah, what's made it work is the kindness of American patriots that donate the money and help us keep this thing going. It was, even when Charlie was around, it was kind of a year-to-year deal. We didn't know. We never claimed to know what veterans needed on their return home. We didn't want to be that kind of organization. So what I have done for 10 years for Journey Home Project, did it 4 or 5 years prior, is to just go out and research organizations that do good work. If we were going to raise money in Charlie's name, we wanted to make sure the money went to the right place. A few years into the global war, there was some organizations that hit a few bumps in the road, and we just decided if we were going to raise money in Charlie's name, we would track it. We'd know where it goes, make sure it's spent in the right place. And there are some wonderful organizations, Tunnels for Towers, for instance, incredible organization. It's kind of like the parallel of St. Jude's. Mm-hmm. But they have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of little organizations out here that are doing, groundwork, street work, like you and I grew up doing the work on the streets that need help, that need $1,500, $5,000, $10,000. And so Charlie always wanted to think of us as a quick response team. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we are. I think it's a comfortable place. It's been a blessing of a transition for me because of the loss of my dearest friend for a half century.
It occurs to me that you guys are not necessarily a mom and pop shop. Well, I mean, you are. Your name ID is greater than a lot of the mom and pop shops that are out there, as I call them. But I've always found, and I don't begrudge Tunnels for Towers or any of these charitable organizations that have their heart in the right place that grow to be the size that they are. But any organization that grows to that size, the overhead grows, and a percentage of the money, and once again, I'm not knocking it. I don't want anybody to think I am. But by its very nature, as an organization grows, the percentage of the money that goes to the individuals that need it the most gets less. And I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, but just the overhead and the administrative work, when you're on the ground like you are, I mean, 99 cents out of every dollar, whatever it is, goes straight to the veterans, which is so vital, and why I'm drawn to your organization.
Well, it is, and I'm going to be a little bit of a contradiction in the sense that is what Frank Siller's done with Tunnels for Towers. When you make that much money, you're allowed to do unbelievable things.
Well, that's true.
I mean, he's building housing developments. You've seen the homes that he's building for these first responders and families. I mean, so the bigger you get, the bigger things you can do.
True that.
And I mentioned St. Jude's. Look at the lives they save every day. Their hope lies there where there is no hope. For us, we like the mom and pop deal, number one. And number two, it's there's another thing that happened. There was an organization, a big organization that got picked on a few years back, and they were talking about the guy's salary. But this guy was out 24/7, gone from his family. He was on an airplane every day, 300 days a year, doing what I do, kiss ass and lick boots to try to get somebody to understand what we're trying to do. So you'll give me $100, $500, $1,000. And so it's not easy work. So part of those administrative costs are very valid costs. We're an event producer, so our costs are, the money we spend is only to produce events to where we try to get some rock stars in and raise some money. And I think we have a unique we have a unique way of offering auction items that other people can't get.
Well, there's no question.
You know?
And if you if you're familiar with the Patriot Awards dinner or familiar with some of the auction items that happen with the Patriot Awards dinner, it's pretty special. It's pretty incredible. I want to pivot to that for a minute. So was it on purpose that this is being held on September 11th?
It was on purpose because we like to do it on Wednesdays. Has been our day ever since we started, and we wanted to do it earlier. And then the last piece is my favorite piece, is that in 2005 I met a gentleman in Iraq, in Baghdad. His name was John Vigiano, and he was doing a speaking tour to soldiers. And he was a patriarch to the Vigiano family, which were firefighters. And he fought all the New York fires during the 60s when the slumlords were burning the buildings down and firemen were dying and homeless people were dying.
They were building the skyscrapers but had no idea how to put fires out.
Right.
In them.
And these poor guys, man, I mean, there were so many firemen, loss of firemen. This guy had two sons, one John and Joe. Joe, Dick Wolf, who does Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Chicago all that, he did a documentary on John Vigiano.
Law and Order, Dick Wolf?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He did a documentary on, there's two sons, but Joe was a natural-born hero. At 12 years old, they went from New Jersey to Clearwater, Florida, and at 12 years old, he saved a Cuban family. He saw a family drowning in the ocean. He went out, rescued them, brought them in. So this guy grows up. He becomes a police officer, becomes another hero, shot multiple times, goes on and on. So those two sons of the patriarch, John and Joe, one dies in one tower, one dies in the other.
Oh,
so he loses both of his sons, one a fireman, one a cop.
Holy moly.
And so now those two guys have three sons that are now decorated police officers and veterans. And so we're honoring all three of those generations. John Vigiano and, of course, the mom has passed on. But, and then, of course, Joe, his widow, she's coming, and she's bringing her kids with her. And so we're going to honor all three of those generations, and they're going to be honored by Bernie Carrick, who was the New York Police Commissioner. And
how great is he?
He's incredible. And we've got a clip. There's a clip that we're going to put online, and it is when Bernie was pinning Joe Vigiano for some heroic deal he did. Dick Wolf cut to a little boy that's 9 years old standing in the audience watching his dad and his granddad getting medals, and that little kid's going to be there. And Dick Wolf won an Oscar for this film, for short film, around Joe Viggiano.
It's I've had the honor of being at 2 of these Patriot Awards dinners, and it's like David Corlew seeks out to make grown tough dudes cry in the audience,
me included.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, but these are the moments that just they choke you up, because I can't imagine being someone that survived everything that the patriarch, the elder Viggiano, survived, and then to lose his 2 sons.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't want to imagine that sort of pain. And at the same time, the pride that is involved inside the pain in knowing that you raised men that were there to save others and that had a servant's heart.
It's definitely going to be a I'm not worthy moment. And I don't want to, in the other 9/11, Benghazi.
That's right.
Mark Osgeist is
Benghazi ain't
there.
going away.
Yeah, it ain't going away. That's what Charles said. So we want to, Mark, we've created a new award this year. They're called the Valor Awards, and the Viggiano family will be the one of the recipients. And of course, Osgeist for standing on the roof with the famous line, "Let them come."
Yep.
And they fought for 13 hours for the sake of our nation and for the mistakes of the administration at that time.
What do you, backing up and just talking about the organization, what do you tell people your mission is? I talk about it all the time, but I want to hear it from you. What's your mission?
My mission is to help one veteran today. Mm-hmm. That's my mission. And that's a little bit cliche. My mission is to continue. When Charlie passed away, I had lived in, I don't want to say the shadow, I lived alongside a great patriot, a great American, great musician, my friend. And I had no idea what I was going to do. And now I turn around, it was the greatest gift that Charlie ever bestowed on me. It's like God knew I needed something to do and to sink my teeth into that would
make the days go a little faster?
Make them go not faster so much, but I like to fight.
I know what you're saying.
I'm a fighter, and it gave me something to fight for.
Well, that's right, and gave you something to do.
Yeah.
With your best friend's name on it.
You bet.
And you get to live and honor that legacy every day that you're working on this effort. And I just absolutely love it. I love what you guys do because you give us such comfort, because I don't have to worry about, and this is what I tell folks out. There are a lot of veterans organizations. There are a lot of organizations that do it the right way. There are some that don't. And I don't know which from which. And it is very difficult for me to spend the time. I just want to give money. I want to give what I can to provide a level of relief to the veterans that have given so much to us. And you guys, I hate to put it this way, but the word comes to my mind. It's almost a clearinghouse that if I give to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, I know that every organization that you assist, every veteran that you assist, that y'all have done the homework and made sure that it's going to a good place and it's going to the right place.
Our lives, my life depends on it. My livelihood depends on it. I want to make the right choices because there's way much more need than there is money to do that. And so, man, it's going to be a great evening. I'm really excited.
Is the tall man going to be there, really? You sent me the name.
The tall man,
I'm a little nervous because I think he listens to the show.
Yeah.
I think he listens to the radio station.
You talking about Dallas Alexander?
I'm talking Trace. I'm talking Trace.
Oh, yeah, Trace Atkins is going to be there. Yeah, Trace is coming. Trace has been a wonderful friend of mine. If I got just a minute to tell
I'll give it to you. Yeah, sure.
A great story. In my music business life, I was in the publishing business. I owned songs, hired songwriters. I went out and got songs cut. Mm-hmm. There was a new artist. I pitched a song to Capitol Records. It was a song called I'm Trying. It was Trace's first hit record. But when he cut it, Mike Dungan, who ran Capitol Records at the time, I ran into Mike. I said, Mike, you just cut one of my songs. He said, I love that song. It's brilliant. It's going to be a hit. And so a week later, I'm at a golf tournament, and I go, there's Trace Atkins, the tall guy, as you say. And I go over to him and go, Trace, you don't know me. My name's David Corlew. I didn't want to say I'm a publisher. I work for Charlie Daniels. But I said, you cut one of my songs last week. And he goes, which one was it? And I said, I'm trying. He goes, I hate that song.
Why does he hate
Trace.
Why does he hate that song?
I don't know if he was just
Messing with
jacking with me or what, but now he's become just a dear friend to me, and I just adore him, and
Great guy.
we're so excited.
Are you sold out? The Patriot Awards sold out?
We're sold out.
Okay.
We're sold out.
You got to go early. You got to get them early if you're going to get them.
Yeah, we have so many returning supporters that Lee Beeman, Fiserv, a lot of these guys that have just are great patriots that love what we do, and it's going to be a fun night.
Well, I mean, obviously, I hate it if you guys are listening and want to go. You got to get in early. If you did not get your tickets, then make plans for next year. And we're just as excited as can be about the event and the auction and everything else that goes along with it. You sent me one of these auction items. That 9mm.
Yeah, that's a gift from some friends of Bernie's. And it's a gun.
Can I put a picture of this on social media?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
It's a gun case that literally opens up, and it has the trade towers carved in it, and it has blue lights that come out of, just like the trade towers, but it's a Glock, and it's going
to be up for auction.
It's going to be up for auction.
Out of our league.
Mine.
If we pooled our money together, and Bell's and Ken, it's still out of our league. And rightly so. It'll raise some good money for an organization. It's a beautiful. And
I'll need to sell about 50 head of cattle to throw in there with it.
Listen, I'm sad to be out of time, but folks, if you can, go to the Charlie Daniels website, charliedanielsjourneyhomeproject.org, and give as you can. I promise you, it goes to a good cause. On my word and on the word of David Corlew, it's going to get to a veteran in need.
It will do that. I'll make sure of that.
We look forward to tomorrow night, my friend.
It's going to be a party.
It'll be a good time. There's David Corlew, 55 after the hour. Back right after this on the Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we've got some crashes. Right lane block 24 eastbound near the Clay Lick Road overpass in Whites Creek, and then in Glencliff, you've got the left 2 lanes blocked 24 westbound near the Antioch Pike overpass. We're expecting waves of rain from Tropical Storm Francine, expected to slam Louisiana tomorrow, Middle Tennessee by Thursday, and it could spawn severe weather. We'll be watching it. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, authorities are looking for a Murray County man wanted for criminal homicide. Michael Van Dobbs, considered armed and dangerous. There is a $2,500 reward being offered for information leading to his arrest. Mishap on the runway in Atlanta. This is how it went down, according to liveatc.net.
The whole tail of that CRJ's off.
Yeah, a Delta Airlines jet hit the tail of a smaller plane, taking its whole tail off at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport today. That Delta jet heading to Tokyo. When the Airbus A350 clipped the tail of the CRJ-900, no one was hurt. The mother of the suspected Georgia high school shooter is speaking out. Here's Derek Dennis.
Marcy Gray has a message for her son, 14-year-old Colt Gray, the suspected shooter charged with killing 2 fellow students and 2 teachers at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia last week.
I would tell him that I love him.
Gray says she hasn't seen or spoken to her son since the shooting, but in an ABC News exclusive said she called her son's school minutes before the gunfire, warning of an extreme emergency after getting a text from Colt saying, "Sorry, Mom."
Wars are raging on overseas, and Ian Panels in Kyiv as Russia says it intercepted 20 Ukrainian drones in the Moscow area. 1 woman died when a drone hit an apartment building.
Ukraine has been repeatedly hitting Russia, trying to bring the war home to the Kremlin and to the Russian people, who've been largely insulated from its invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has confirmed that he plans to visit the Ukrainian capital here in Kyiv, together with the British Foreign Secretary.
Yeah, Blinken says there's evidence Iran is providing arms to Russia and that the U.S. will announce extra sanctions on Iran soon. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Whatever the weather might be doing, it is always a good idea to keep this number handy. It's to Efficient Heating and Cooling. My man Jeff Eddy can help you out. He can answer your call and get with the program. It can be hard to find someone that you can trust to handle these big-ticket items like your heater or your air conditioner if they should happen to go out. Who do you call? I recommend you call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. He keeps that overhead down. You don't need to pay more than you have to. Plus, he's never going to recommend that you replace that unit unless it's absolutely time, and he'll explain why it's time, why we can't make it another season, and what you need to do to get it replaced. When it comes to that, they're an elite pro partner with Rheem. They can help you find the right unit for you, your home, and your family. Give them a call today at 615-784-4424, 615-784-4424. You can also hit them up online at efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being around. We appreciate each and every one of you. It is 8 minutes after 1 o'clock. We've got a lot of phone lines wide open for you, a lot of space on the membersnutrition.com super text line. Thank you to David Corlew for joining us for a few moments. It was nice to have a palate cleanser, to talk about good organizations like the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, wonderful things that they are doing in our community and our state and around the Southeast. We appreciate those guys. If you have an opportunity to go to the Patriot Awards dinner, I know it's sold out. I think we're out of tickets, too, to give away. We gave away a couple of pair yesterday and some last week. I know Dan Mandis with Nashville's Morning News has given away a couple of sets as well. Please just put it on your bucket list to go, because there's fabulous stars that go to this thing. I mean, you get to rub elbows with the likes of Trace Adkins or Lee Greenwood is there with regularity, and many, many others. Plus, most importantly, there are great veterans. Chris Young is there quite often. He's a big supporter of the Charlie Daniels Project, and many, many others. I mean, the names just keep coming to me, but most importantly, the veterans that are served by the project and that serve through the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project as well. Now, speaking of the veterans, we made mention I guess it was maybe yesterday or last week, of a particular veteran that we had an opportunity. Was it last year that we talked to Miss Gladys?
I think it was, yeah.
Ms. Gladys Hughes was an honoree last year at the Charlie Daniels Patriot Awards dinner. She served her country honorably in the United States Navy after Pearl Harbor. She was in Hawaii during the attack on Pearl Harbor. And she is now 100 years old, and I think I have these details correct, and if I have one or two wrong, I apologize. I know David's probably listening on his way home. But David just told me as I was leaving, we were leaving the interview, and I was walking him out. I said, is Ms. Gladys still with us? And he said, yeah, she's 100 years old. She's losing her eyesight a little bit, so she doesn't get out like she used to. And David told me that they just built her a ramp for her home to get her access in and out easier. 100 years old, which led to an interesting discussion between Belle Kay and myself as to whether or not that's a goal. That's an aspiration. And I have not been living my life consistent with the idea that I would reach 100.
No, me either. In fact, I think I've actively been trying to limit that with some of my actions.
Now, Ms. Gladys, she has led a wonderful and wholesome life, and God bless her. And it was wonderful to talk to her last year, and I'm glad that she is still with us. But I mean, if I see an 8 at the beginning of my name, I'm doing good, I think. I mean, honestly.
I'm going to be surprised if I see a 7.
Oh, Weaver. Ken Weaver, the worst thing you do in your life is you grab a cold one every now and again and chug it.
Well, yeah. I've gotten back into smoking cigars here lately. I'm going to have to tamp that down a little bit.
Ooh, doggy. I promised myself, I smoked cigarettes, Ken Weaver, from the age of 15 until I was 32. I was smoking about a pack and a half a day when I quit when I was 32.
Yeah.
And I promised I said, I'm not going to touch anything for 5 years.
Right.
But after 5 years, I'm a cigar smoker. I said, I'm smoking cigars.
Give me one.
And I'll still smoke one occasionally, but I'm just, if I can't inhale it, I'm not that into it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't even need for them to clip it for me. I do it with my teeth.
That's old school.
I do it myself.
Man, you're a rough rider over there. You just handle it on your own.
But yeah, man, the thing about me and cigarettes is I could go right back. I know I would too. If I had one, I'd be right back at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. We talked about this the other day that I know that I can't smoke one because if I smoke one, I'm a pack-a-day smoker again in 2 months.
Yep.
I mean, that's the way that goes. So.
I mean, I loved it. I love smoking.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Tastes great.
Oh.
You smell bad, but it tastes great.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, though. People that have just a smoke smell like a dadgum ashtray.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nasty. But if I walk by somebody that's smoking, I love it. I love the smell of it. I love to get my secondhand smoke fix. I'll intentionally ride. When I'm going out to play golf, Ken, I'll intentionally ride with people that smoke. Because I want them to smoke. My buddy Jay St. Clair, who's on with us on Fridays.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, Friday. He smokes. And I will say to him during a round of golf, hey, Jay, are we going to smoke? And he goes, oh, okay. And he'll light one, and just so I can get the second hand going. I love it.
Interesting. Now, see, I like the smell of a fresh Marlboro when it's just been lit. But after that, I can do without. It's like honestly, I can't go sit in a smoky bar.
No, heck no. I can't do that. Can't do that. And certainly can't go to a place where they're smoking. I mean, I choose not to go to places where they're smoking because I don't want to smell that way after I leave.
Right.
I just don't like it. Yeah. I guess this is the time in the show that I should note at 1:13 in the afternoon on September 10th, this Tuesday. Ken Weaver and Matt Murphy remind you, children, don't smoke cigarettes.
Never. Don't start.
Don't do all of that. You become like us.
You don't want to do it.
And you don't want to do that.
No, sir.
All right, we're going to get to your calls on predictions. So James Carville had an interesting prediction earlier today. He was being interviewed by some knucklehead on MSNBC, and this is what he had to say about the debate and whether or not Kamala Harris would be prepped.
Supposed to say it. I think Trump is walking into a giant trap.
Okay, why?
If I was campaigning, I think she's well prepared. She's been in Pittsburgh. She's got really top people preparing her. She's going to have low expectations because the President Biden did so horribly in June. It wasn't that Trump did great. It was that President Biden didn't do very well at all. And I say this, I could be eating my words on Wednesday, but I think she's going to do quite well. And I think she made a big mistake by accepting this debate.
So there's James Carville saying that Donald Trump made a big mistake by accepting the debate, that Kamala Harris is going to do great, that he is walking into a trap with this debate, that she is prepped and prepared. What say you? Now, I want to play a game called Trump should, Trump would, or Harris should, Harris would. Tell me what they should do and tell me what they would do with regard to the debate tonight. And I know that the verbiage doesn't quite work, but I want the rhyme. So I'm going Trump should, Trump would, as opposed to Trump should, Trump will. I understand that, but should and would, it rhymes. You get it. So what should they do and what will they do? Now, I do believe that, I mean, it's a long-standing tradition on these many various talk shows across the United States of America that we give Donald J. Trump advice as to how he should act during a presidential debate. Well, the next presidential election that I win will be the first presidential election that I win. And I don't presuppose to know how to win one of these things better than a guy that happens to have done it. Now, that said, the next presidential election I lose will be the first presidential election I lose. And regardless of how it all went down in 2020, Donald Trump did not win re-election to the White House, or at least was not allowed to get back into the White House in 2021. So he's 1 for 1, and this becomes the swing game in the match. This is very important. A lot of eyeballs will be on Kamala Harris, and I believe that they have put too much focus and emphasis on the next 90 minutes of her life tonight before the American people because they refused to do interviews. They tried to have it both ways. The Harris people, she wanted her cake and she wanted to eat it too. Have you heard that expression? You want your cake and eat it too. That means you love this cake, you love to have it, you love to know that it's there, but you want to eat it. Well, once you eat it, it's gone. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Old expression. My grandmother used to use it. Kamala Harris wants it both ways. She wants to change her position on all of these issues, but she does not want to present herself to the American people for sit-down interviews expressing these newfound positions on so many different issues. She wants to change her image before the American people, but she wants to do so behind closed doors or in structured environments where there isn't an honest or robust back and forth. Well, the American people are smarter than that. Now, I'm not talking about those that are the 40% that are all in. There are 40% of Americans are all in. They hate Trump. They think he's the devil incarnate, and they don't really care who their candidate is. These are the same people that were going to vote for Joe Biden. These folks are more enthusiastic because they feel like Kamala Harris has a better shot of winning. But there's really nothing that you can do short of her keeling over on the stage that would convince them that she's not the right person for the job because they hate Trump so much. I'm not talking about those people. Those people don't care that she shifted positions. Those people don't care that she believed one thing and now believes another thing. They don't really care how bad Biden-Harris have been running the country over the last 4 years. They don't care. They just hate Trump that much. It's TDS. They hate him that much. We're not talking about those people. For Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, maybe some folks in Tennessee, where she is on these issues matter. And the fact that she's willing to flip from one side to the other so easily without explanation and without feeling as if she owes the American people an explanation, that's a different matter altogether. So what should Trump do tonight? What will Trump do tonight? 615-737-9986. We'll open up the phone lines. What will Kamala do tonight? What should Kamala do tonight? 615-737-9986. We start off with Jeff in Hendersonville. Hello, Jeff. Glad you called. How are you?
Hey, Matt. Doing well, brother. Hey, give us a shout. You got our digits.
I tried to call Patty. I tried to call Patty yesterday.
Oh, really?
I didn't get a call back.
Okay. Yeah, give her another.
I'll hit her up, but we'll do it. Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, real quick, I will say what I love the smell of is a smoking barn out in the backwoods here, which typical Californians, we thought people's barns were on fire. Oh, we got to find, oh no, this guy's barn's on fire. Now they're just drying tobacco. But man, it smells good.
That's right.
Tonight, I would say Trump should just stick to the issues, not insult or not get personal, because there's not even enough time to list how many ways she's deficient and dangerous and an amateur and unaccomplished and all that stuff. What he will probably do is just be a bombastic and go off script, and there you go. You know, that's my 2 cents on that piece of it.
Well, look, it's his way. I thought the debate was a wonderful format for Trump, and I think the Democrats agreed with that in as much as he couldn't interrupt too much because of the mic cutting. I think that greatly benefits Trump. Trump has the ability to circle back, and he did so. I mean, I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, and thank you, Jeff, for the call. He did so masterfully during the debate with Biden. Now, Biden was in the midst of an absolute meltdown, and that got a lot of the focus. But you might recall, Donald Trump did the old circle back where they say something that I want to reference. They move on to a different question. I say, yeah, I'm going to answer that question in just a moment. I want to circle back to what he just said, or what, in this case, she just said, yada, 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 blah, 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 circle back, ding, 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 and then get back to the original question for the last 30 seconds or whatever that I have time to answer. It's much more difficult if you zing someone on the circle back from a debate standpoint. For example, Bel K and I are debating, and the moderator of the debate says, well, Bell K, what do you think about this issue? And Bell goes, well, I believe in this and I believe in that, and Murphy's stupid and Murphy's an idiot and I don't like him very much. And they say, okay, next question, Murphy. What do you think about this completely unrelated event? And I say, I'm going to get to that completely unrelated event, but let me spend about 20 seconds telling you why Bell K's an idiot. Idiot, 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 idiot. And then I get back to the original question that you asked. Well, the moderators have to either follow up on the question asked to the individual next to me, or they have to move on to another question. Either way, this person has to go back 2 questions now to respond to the zing that I just laid out in the beginning of my answer. Y'all get that? So that person gets blamed for bogging the debate down. I don't. Donald Trump did that masterfully during the first debate, and he'll do so again. And it benefits him not to recognize that he doesn't have the ability to do it while they're talking. He wants to do it while they're talking. And he did that a lot with Hillary, and he did it a lot with Joe. And with Hillary, it didn't bother us so much because anything to shut Hillary up, the American people were all behind. With Joe, there are other factors going on. 22 after the hour, Michelle and Sean and Cut and Corey all coming to you as you tell me what should Trump do, what will Trump do, what should Kamala do, what will she do during the debate tonight that we'll all be watching together at Scoreboard Cedar Creek. It's 23 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Defend Systems. We tell you all the time that we live in a dangerously developing world, and it was evidenced last week over this sad situation that happened in Winder, Georgia. Well, I know a company that can help facilitate a visit with you that can ease your mind about what you would or can do during a very serious workplace situation, like a workplace violence event. It doesn't have to involve a shooting, but what if there is a workplace incident that involves a physical altercation? What do you do? What if there's an active shooter situation nearby? What do you do? Now, the chances of this happening, and we like to remind you of that with Defense Systems, is very low, but it's not zero. That means hope is not a plan. It's time to get trained. At Defense Systems, they act as a life safety and security consultation firm. Really, if you are a decision maker at a place of business, a church, a school, an event space, anywhere that people gather, you need to call Defense Systems. Go to defendsystems.com. That's defendsystems.com, or call at 615-236-6484. 236-6484 for Defense Systems.
Still got crashes in the way. This one's 24 eastbound near the Clay Lick Road overpass in Whites Creek. Right lane blocked. Then 24 westbound near the Antioch Pike overpass. Left 2 lanes blocked there in Glencliff. And congressional gold medals presented to families of the 13 service members killed in Afghanistan withdrawal coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. It is 27 after the hour. I promised I would get to your calls. Debate wills, debate won'ts, debate shoulds, debate coulds, debate woulds. What do you think? Cut is first up in Nashville. Cut, thank you for calling.
Hey, yeah, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, man, I think Trump just needs to let Kamala talk all she wants to, because then, at the end of the day, you know it's going to turn into word salad. But she's never told anybody anything. Give her an opportunity to explain why her position's changed on this, or why she thought this in 19 or whenever, and now she thinks this. And why, since she's already been in office, why hadn't she been doing it?
Well, and it's all about the follow-up in that regard, and expect none from ABC News. But ABC can ask the questions, Cut. Like, you know, for example, now you said back in 2019 this, but now your folks have said that. What has changed? She's ready for that. She's not ready for the follow-ups. And if they don't do the follow-ups, Trump needs to be ready to pounce during his response time by saying, well, yeah, but she didn't say this, she didn't say that, she needs to answer these things, and make sure that he follows up with these questions for her to show her hypocrisy, where I don't think David Muir, and the rest of the people over at ABC News will do that.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, but you're right. Let the woman talk. The more she talks herself into a corner.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see it, man. And you know she's going to get it sooner or later.
I thank you, Cut. I just saw the Kamala bingo card. I just retweeted it. If you're not following me on the social media, find me at Matt Murphy Show. That's MattMurphyShow on the Twitter machine or the X machine, and you can find the Kamala Harris bingo card for the debate tonight. The debate bingo. Let's see. The middle square is cackling. That's a free square. Then you have phrases like January 6th, excuse me, I'm speaking, weird, convicted felon, threat to democracy, same old, listen. If she repeats a word 3 times in one sentence, you get that square. Black jobs. If she warns about the Russians, you get that square. Fake news, that's another one. And then if she, millionaires and billionaires. And then, of course, unburdened. If she says unburdened, everybody gets to drink. I would say that everybody should take a drink every time she says I'm speaking, which should probably be once at least, twice, maybe 3 times. So that's not going to get you tipsy. That's not going to put you in a way where you can't drive home, but still. 1:30, more calls on this all hour long. Your thoughts on what will happen, what should happen, whether it's Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. The debate is tonight. It's like Christmas Eve on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Here comes the news with Ken Weaver right after this.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. And again, looks like some good news traffic-wise. Those 2 crashes I was just telling you about, Whites Creek and Glencliff, they are gone from the screen. So full throttle there, as long as you're within the limit. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Congressional gold medals presented to families of the 13 service members killed in Afghanistan withdrawal.
Speaker Mike Johnson hosted a ceremony presenting the Congressional Gold Medal, its highest honor, to the 13 service members killed during a terrorist bombing attack at Abbey Gate near Kabul's airport 3 years ago. Politically charged, coming 2 days after House Republicans released a report blaming President Biden for the messy U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Biden administration has maintained it was following through with plans laid out by a deal President Trump had cut during his time in office.
That's him, Wynn, reporting. Right now in Tennessee, a new addition to the TBI most wanted list. Michael Van Dom's a 48-year-old white man wanted for criminal homicide by Murray County. He is considered armed and dangerous. 48 years old, 6 foot tall, 240 pounds, blue eyes, blonde hair. $2,500 reward for information leading to an arrest. And the mother of the suspected Georgia high school shooter is speaking out. Here's Derek Dennis.
Marcy Gray says she has not seen or spoken to her 14-year-old son Colt since his arrest for allegedly shooting 2 teachers and 2 fellow students to death at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia last week. But if she does get to see him,
And I would tell him that it's not your fault. It's not his fault.
Gray blames Colt's father after prosecutors say he knowingly allowed his son to possess a weapon. Colin Gray is charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, while his son is charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Cruz sounds he always sounds so excited about this weather forecast, doesn't he? Come on, Cruz. Weather. Get a little excitement in your voice. Hey, I'm excited to tell you about the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Good people, great people, and a great team approach to your pain and pain management, right? So the idea is this. If you're in pain for whatever reason, I mean, for me, I abused my lower back when I was a younger man, right? In my 20s, I lifted with the back when I knew that I should be lifting with my legs, and I didn't do it. And I thought that I could get away with it. And my back didn't say anything in my 20s or 30s, but now it is talking to me since I've become a 50-year-old man or 51-year-old man now. Well, if you have back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain, for any reason, if you have pain, it's time to get with the Dr. Gill Center because you can live a pain-free life. They can mitigate and manage that pain without having to constantly pop pills, take needles, shots that will alleviate the pain or block the pain, or consider surgery. Let's do this together, right? For less than $50, you can have an initial consultation, examination. They'll get some x-rays done, and then you'll get your first treatment right there on site at the time of that first visit. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief in Franklin. Worth the drive anywhere within the sound of my voice. Let's do this together. Let's alleviate the pain. Call them today at 615-882-4838, 882-4838, the Dr. Gill Center. It is being reported by Team Harris that it is her goal to get Donald Trump off his game tonight in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The first time that these two, this is the first time that Kamala Harris has ever met Donald Trump, because she failed as a political candidate in 2020 prior to ever even approaching a debate stage against Donald Trump during that election season. As a matter of fact, Kamala Harris was the first Democrat booted off the stage after Tulsi Gabbard took care of her. Tulsi's doing some consultation with Donald Trump with regard to how to handle debating a woman, which is a little bit different than debating Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is consulting with Kamala Harris. I think that's great. Reports are that Kamala Harris is attempting to figure out how to needle Trump on the issue of abortion. I don't think any of this is going to work. I think they've tried these things in the past, and he brushes them off. I think it gives him an opportunity to be above the fray, to brush her off with just a swipe of his hand, maybe a comment, and move forward. What do you think about it all? 615-737-9986. It's Sean's turn in Lebanon. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Mr. Matt. How are you?
I'm great. Hope you are.
Better than I deserve. So look forward to seeing you tonight. I want to say that I believe, I agree with you, that tonight's win is based on the questions that the moderators ask and follow up with. And hopefully they do not provoke Trump to say things, personal attacks on Calamity, because, they could throw questions out there and say, hey, you talked about she was Indian, blah, blah, this and that, try to provoke that to happen. They need to say policy, 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 policy. The winner tonight is based on the questions that will be asked and followed up with.
No, I agree with you. The expectation, and Trump had it before the CNN debate, and I think he got to the CNN commentators. And I'm very curious how David Muir and his cohort there at ABC News plans on handling this, because, Trump is a master manipulator when it comes to this. So he's floating out there on Truth Social and these other platforms that he knows these folks are reading. They're not going to be fair. They're the bias to the bias. You'll see it come Wednesday night or Tuesday night, rather. You'll see the bias. You'll see it with your own eyes. And he's challenging them to be fair. And and we'll see. We'll know. We'll know.
That's right.
Hey, are you going to be there tonight, Sean? Are you able to come?
Yes, I will be there.
Shake my hand, brother.
Hey, me and my family.
I love it. Come early.
Sir.
Come early. If you're bringing a fan, listen, and thank you, Sean. In all seriousness, folks, we're going to pack the house tonight. Scoreboard Cedar Creek has a lot of tables. There's a lot of room to sit and enjoy, and there's a lot of room to flex in the bar area and beyond. But I encourage you to get there. The debate starts at 8. We'll be there starting at 3 with Brian Wilson in the drive. I would imagine that Brian is already setting up this afternoon at Scoreboard Cedar Creek. I'll probably get there around 5:15 or so. I'm going to swing by the house. By the way, these clothes you're seeing on Super Talk TV, everybody's like, oh, you got your debate. This is pregame, baby. This is pregame, okay? I'm not wearing this tonight. There's another outfit for tonight.
It would match your shoes, though.
That's true. It would match the shoes. You got to come and see the shoes for yourself. You better get there pretty early to see the shoes, because as much as I love the shoes, and thank you, G, you know who you are. I don't know if I can name G, but G got me the shoes. My boy G. GD. Thank you. Now, GD will probably not be there in his shoes, but my boy got me my shoes. And I appreciate them. And I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth when I tell you this. But they're 11s. They're a little snug. A little tight on the tips. So I am bringing secondary shoes. I will wear the Trump gold for as long as possible. And then when I have to switch, I have to switch. It just is what it is. But for those getting there early, you'll see the Trump gold in full display. And then, you know what I'm thinking about doing, Bell? I think this would be pretty good. What? I'm going to wear them tonight. I'm not going to wear them again. And then we auction them off for charity election night. Or maybe vice presidential debate night, which I understand will be at Hop Springs for the vice presidential debate.
What's the charity?
I mean, we could do
Trump's campaign.
We could do Charlie Daniels' Journey Home Project. We could do Trump's campaign. We could do the People's Fund.
The Human Fund?
I'm sorry, the Human Fund.
Let's do the Human Fund. I hear they need some money.
Thank you for your wonderful and generous donation to the Human Fund. I'm serious. I'm thinking about maybe seeing if we can auction them off and give the money to, I split it between Charlie Daniels and Men of Valor.
They win the shoes worn by you, autographed by you, and they get a Twitter follow by you. But you don't tell them when.
Which is, more than Trump gave to me. I mean,
he said he'd follow you. He didn't say when.
That's true. If you've not heard that story, last I interviewed Trump, which was way back in 2015, I've talked to his son and many of the minions since then, but he's too good for me now. Last time we talked to Donald Trump, he was coming to Alabama, and I was in Birmingham, Alabama at the time, and we spoke to him on his way to Mobile to have his first big rally with Jeff Sessions. This is right before Jeff Sessions endorsed him. He was the first major politician in elected office to endorse Trump in 2015. And I said to Trump at the end of the interview, if I can guarantee you 20,000 people tonight, will you follow me on Twitter? And he said, yes, absolutely. You've got a deal. It's done. And I said, I've read Art of the Deal. I know how this works. Yeah, you got it. And he had like 30,000 people at Lad People Stadium. No follow. No follow. No follow. And like 6 months later, in the midst of a heated presidential campaign, I'm talking to Don Jr. And at the end, I was like, hey, Don Jr., what's up with the no follow? I tell him the story. I get to the point where he said, yeah, I'll follow you. There's a pause, and Don Jr. says, did he say when? And I said, well, no. He said, I've learned you gotta watch Dad on the details. Good point. I see your point. Elaine is in Mount Juliet.
There should be a number at the bottom of your screen or at the top of your phone.
What's going on? Elaine.
You said 5?
Hello.
Yeah. We'll
Hello.
fix that for you, okay? Hello.
Hey, Elaine, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine. I just wanted to
whoa, Elaine, before you talk to me, is everything going okay over there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, I heard somebody it sounded like they were on a loudspeaker.
Well, I was correcting an order at Sonic that was incorrect.
Well, I mean, that's okay. You getting your order right?
I got it right.
I love the old number one. And there's nothing in the world like Sonic tater tots, Elaine. Number 2,
oh my
cheese.
gosh, you are not joking. Anybody in this world.
And that's I don't know what they call it over there at Sonic, but it's their version of the Blizzard. Oh my goodness gracious, it's so good.
Hey, I'm one of them good old milkshake girls. I like me a good old milkshake.
I like that too. And by the way, I would recommend once you get home, if you take you a cherry limeade and don't drink it till you get home, and then pour out a little of the cherry limeade and pour in a little of Tito's vodka, perfect. But I digress. What's on your mind, Elaine?
I didn't know if you knew this. This is breaking news today. Speaker Johnson claims that thousands of illegals are on the voter rolls in Georgia and somewhere else. Onions.
It's not supposed to have onions?
Well, Elaine, go ahead. No. She's fine, Belle. Don't get mad at her. Elaine.
Everything but onions.
Yeah, handle your business. I tell you what, I'm going to put Elaine on hold. It seems like she's transacting business there. And I don't. Belle, what are you shaking your head about? Belle's very upset, Ken. He's upset at Elaine. Are you upset at Elaine or me, Belle?
No, not at you. It's just like people call in because they want to talk to you and discuss the situation. And it's like, pardon me, I got to get my hamburger.
Well, I mean, she didn't know when I was coming to her.
She should just stick with the number 2 with cheese.
Is that the one with the mustard or the mayo?
That's the one. Well, now you can switch it out if you want. You can have both, and you can slap some bacon on it, too.
Woo! Tell you what, I love Sonic. Sonic is good. Sonic should advertise on my radio show.
It's real good.
I mean, I take it back. Ken, listen to this. Sonic should advertise on our radio show and get us some complimentary Sonic as a result. You know, the last newsman I had back there, I got him to go to Whataburger. I got in trouble for that. we didn't ask the news director for permission. I convinced Maury to go to Whataburger when they were opening in Hermitage.
And he did.
And you know what I told him? He said, he came in right before I gave him a debit card. I said, get you something, get Bill something. I said, this is real news, man. This is real news. And he said, am I going to get in trouble with Dan or Ken? And I was like, no, you're good. You're fine. Just go ahead. And he did it.
No, everything will be fine.
And the thing that got us in trouble with Madness, and I think maybe Weaver was probably not impressed with missing the newscast, but with Madness, the thing that got us in trouble was he said that Mac was not authorized to drive during official business with the company. That's what I got told. So I don't know. I think Mandis just didn't like the idea of us having delicious Whataburger during the show. All right, we've lost. You know what? Congratulations, Belle. Way to go. Elaine hung up.
And we're the better for it.
I think I could have gotten us one of those Sonic Blasts.
Woo! Yeah, well, just send Ken to go get it.
I can't.
He's not authorized to drive.
I won't let myself.
That's right.
Weaver, sit down.
Weaver, afternoon newsman Weaver asks news director Ken Weaver if it's appropriate for afternoon news anchor Ken Weaver to go to Sonic for Matt Murphy.
Weaver, where are you going? Breaking news. What's the breaking news?
Didn't you hear about Matt getting in trouble for sending Mac? Okay.
Yeah. But that show starts at 12, Bell. We just talked about that like seconds ago. Where were you?
I was probably dealing with some caller who doesn't know what's going on.
You're probably pissing Elaine off, telling her to get off the phone or get off the Sonic speaker.
That was funny, man.
That was pretty good. Elaine's got to get, man, I don't blame her. Todd, if I'm talking to me, I'm going to interrupt myself to get some delicious tots from Sonic. Eddie and John and Danny and Corey, y'all hang in, and I'm getting to you, not necessarily in that order next. It's 150 on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Glock Store. When it comes to guns, who do you trust? Well, for a while, I didn't know, and I looked around. For the first year or so that I was in Nashville, Tennessee, I shopped around at the various stores, and finally, I went to the Glock Store, and I thought, wow. I mean, there is a big time difference. The retail space is large. It is open. It is roomy. The folks are friendly. They are as knowledgeable as can be. At the same time, they can talk to you on your knowledge level. Just tell them. When you talk to somebody at the Glock Store, say, look, I don't know necessarily what I'm looking for because I've never been around guns, and I want to arm myself in this dangerous world. I want to learn how to use in the Shoot 270 rooms, Neverlane's rooms with a private instructor, and they will guide you. They'll feed you baby birds. They'll take you through the entire process, and you'll come out better on the other end. Now, if you want to party at the Glock Store, then it's a great time to do that because they are scheduling parties for the fall and even for the holiday season. They are a great place to buy a gun, a great place to train, and a great place to party because they've got a VIP room there in the back. They've got a dedicated training room for you and your party. All you have to do is make the call that others have made and schedule that party today at 615-682-6565. 682-6565 to party, or stop by the Glock Store, minutes away from the airport, minutes away from the sound of my voice. It's the one and only Glock Store.
What tropical storm Francine might have in store for Tennessee, and the U.S. accusing Iran of giving Russia weapons, and what the U.S. says its plans to do about it, coming up at 2 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Mr. Ken Weaver. 2 minutes until 2 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and I promised that I would get to as many as I possibly could, and will continue to do so. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, yes, for those of you asking, I have a take on Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins wide receiver, who was stopped doing in excess of 100 miles an hour on the way to the game Sunday, who was roughly handled after disobeying orders. I have a thought or two. I'll share it with you in the 2 o'clock hour. Before I do, John is next up in Nashville. Hey, John.
Hey,
John.
Matt.
Hey, John.
This is what I would do if I were Trump. When they start talking about the Haitians eating the cats, and Kamala will say, oh, it wasn't the Haitians, then you could say, well, Bidenomics even worse than we thought. Americans are starting to eat the cats.
Somebody's eating the cats. I don't know who it is. Here's what I mean, if it does come up, here's a prediction that I would make to you, John, and to Tommy and Danny and Corey and everyone else listening. And we'll continue the conversation on the other side. So if you're holding, Danny, I see you there. Tommy, I see you there. Corey, I see you there. Hang in. Just bear with me. Bell, is this fair? Within 3 questions, I might go as far as 2 questions. I believe one of the first 2 questions to Donald Trump tonight will be in relation to his comment that he would look into voter fraud and he would jail people that committed voter fraud. But the way that they couch it will be, you have declared that you're going to put your political enemies in jail. Within 2 questions, just wait for it.
And the response should be, well, you've been trying to do that to me, and it hasn't worked, so how much success will I have?
I mean, it's just tee it up, and he'll knock it out of the park. Tee it up, and he will knock it out of the park. Ooh, 4460 says, we need to get some of that Sonic to sponsor Ken Weaver's On the Dot News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I like the way you people are thinking. I love you guys. Y'all are the smartest listening audience on planet Earth. Thank you.
Number 2 with bacon.
Tots, please. Cherry limeade. And one of them Sonic Blast. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll go when I want to, Bell. The music's still on. You don't tell me.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we're tracking the potential for severe weather the latter half of the week. That would be from Tropical Storm Francine, expected to slam Louisiana tomorrow and be in parts of Middle Tennessee by Thursday. Here's Channel 4's Dan Thomas.
It hangs around our latitude for a while, giving us an opportunity for a lot of rain, some showers, some storms, maybe some localized severe weather from Thursday right through the start of the weekend at least.
Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes, and wars continue to rage overseas. And today, the U.S. accused Iran of providing Russia with ballistic missiles to fuel its war in Ukraine, promising it will not go unpunished. Here's ABC's Shannon Kingston.
After warning that the Kremlin had acquired missiles from Iran and would likely use them against Ukraine within weeks, Secretary of State Antony Blinken vowed there would be repercussions.
We've been sharing intelligence behind these findings with our allies and partners, and working together to ensure that there will be significant economic consequences for Tehran's actions.
So far, those consequences include new U.S. sanctions targeting the country's main airline, while France, Germany, and the U.K. are moving to restrict direct flights with Iran.
Another mishap on the runway, this time in Atlanta.
All right, we just hit something on the taxiway. Could you tell us what it was?
That was a Delta Airlines jet hitting the tail of a smaller plane, and the result?
The whole tail of that CRJ's off.
Yeah, the Delta jet heading to Tokyo when that Airbus A350 clipped the tail of a CRJ 900. The Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport today, no one was hurt. Election 2024, just hours from now, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will go head-to-head in their first presidential debate in Philadelphia. Here's Karen Travers.
This is Vice President Harris's first presidential debate. She told reporters Monday she's feeling good ahead of her showdown with former President Donald Trump. She said in a recent radio interview she's prepared for Trump to go low and not tell the truth. But voters will be tuning in tonight to hear what she's offering them and what she would do if elected. Her campaign motto, a new way forward, as she pitches herself as a change candidate despite being the sitting vice president.
It's time to turn the page on the divisiveness.
Way over our heads, Jim Ryan says the 2 men and 2 women aboard the SpaceX Polaris Dawn, they're in orbit.
Minutes after lifting off from Kennedy Space Center.
SpaceX nominal orbit insertion. Captain SpaceX.
During its 5-day mission, the Polaris Dawn will attempt the highest orbit with a space capsule since NASA's Gemini era. As the crew capsule was racing skyward, the Falcon rocket that pushed it there was in a controlled fall. And then
the Stage 1 vehicle has touched down.
The rocket will be cleaned up and refueled for a future SpaceX flight.
That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
So stay up with the latest on your health by calling Kraft Body Scan and schedule a heart and lung scan for a mere $149. And that's not just for you, friends. It's for you and your loved one, your spouse, your significant other. That's right. At Kraft Body Scan, they're continuing to offer their $149 special. It's an incredible value. CT scans are so important, and the technology is amazing. They can see inside of your body, and before you feel a problem, they see a problem. It is such a dramatic increase in efficiency and making sure that you're aware of what's going on inside of your body before you even feel what's happening inside of your body. Now, for most of us, they'll say you're A-OK, your heart, your lungs, they look great. But for some of us, they will detect issues that if you catch early can literally be life-saving. Call today at 615-436-1000 and schedule that $149 scan. It's a value of $2,500. Kraft Body Scan can be found at togetherwescan.com. Togetherwescan.com. All right, as promised, by the way, 2 o'clock hour, 2:07 to be precise, Matt Murphy and you. We've got Ken Weaver in the newsroom. He's busy gathering headlines. He'll deliver another award-winning newscast coming up in less than 30 minutes, or when news breaks. Bell K's behind the glass, screening your telephone calls, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible, which is difficult work considering the host. That's me, Matt Murphy, until 3 o'clock. Or they pull me off the radio, whichever comes first. Okay, Tyreek Hill commentary and rant. Beware. Rant pant alert. I'm about to put my rant pants on, and we are going to go full bore in just a moment. Because y'all need to hear this. Y'all need to hear this. No, Tyreek Hill is not right. Yes, the police could have reacted a little bit differently. But no, Tyreek Hill does not have a point. And I'll get to that in a moment. Also, one of my faves has passed away, James Earl Jones, at the age of 93, who was in a hell of a lot more than just Star Wars, was in a heck of a lot more than just Field of Dreams, was in a heck of a lot more than just The Lion King, but he was in all of those things and much, much more. I'll have a tribute to James Earl Jones coming up a little bit later on in the hour. Your calls first, however, as I promised I would get to those of you holding, suggesting what Trump should do, what he will do, what Kamala Harris should do, what she will do in the debate tonight. In that spirit, let's see who's been holding the longest. I believe it is Danny in Springfield. Congratulations, Danny. Hey, y'all aren't eating cats over there, are you?
No, not today. That was last week's meal.
I'm just checking. Just checking. What's up, Danny?
Not too much. Hey, I just had a couple things. Number one, I think this is going to be the one and only debate. No matter how it turns out for Kamala, if she does well or doesn't, she'll just tell everybody, including the news, that I've said all I need to say. You know where I stand, and they're gonna mitigate the risk of her saying and doing something dumb. That being said, I think an interesting strategy, and hear me out here, with Trump would be for him, for most of the time when he gets a question, just say, I'm going to give my time over to Kamala. Because I think she's probably got answers for, 20 questions? But I don't think she's going to remember answers for 40.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I see what you're saying. I don't know that I would agree that it is a good debate strategy, but I do think that, and I understand the spirit of what you're saying, that the more she talks, the better. The more she speaks and the more she is expected to speak extemporaneously, the better, which is why I think she's going to prepare enough for the initial questions. I would suggest to Danny that I don't know that you give up your time because that comes off as a little bit weak. But what you do is you end your time with questions. So you do that by asking the questions the moderators won't or asking follow-ups that the moderators won't. She'll be ready for the, hey, you flip-flopped on the border wall. Hey, you flip-flopped on fracking. Hey, you flip-flopped on offshore drilling. Hey, you flip-flopped on, what about this trend? I mean, I don't expect that David Muir or the other lady, I forget her name, Davis, I believe, they will not go anywhere near Kamala Harris's position. Y'all know that she held the position in 2019 that not only should we allow illegal aliens into the United States of America, but we should also allow any transgendered illegal aliens that come into the United States of America to receive a free transgender surgery. Y'all know that, right? That is a fact. She's on the record. I can play the audio. I'm sure you know that. You're the smartest listeners on planet Earth. But I don't know that I would hand back my time so much as at the end of my time, when I know that it's coming, if the clock's running in my head, say, why won't she tell you the answer to why she's flip-flopping on immigration? Why is she so supportive of my border wall now? Why has she flip-flopped on fracking? Why is she still proud of Afghanistan? I want to know. She said she was proud. In April of 2024, she said she was proud of the decision about Afghanistan. Is she still proud? Why won't she call back the family members of the 13 soldiers that died? These are the types of things you throw back in her face before the moderators can step in to try to save her. And they will do so. Far more so than CNN did. There was no saving Joe Biden, and CNN knew that pretty early on. Corey is next in the borough. Hello, Corey.
Hello, good sir. How are you?
What's up, man?
Oh, I'm just saying that I think Kamala Harris should tell the truth, but that's a pipe dream. I know for a fact that all she'll do is make anything and everything about isms or ifs. Take your pick. But I will say a subtle strategy for Trump, and I mentioned this to Brian Wilson, so the ones who are listening have heard this before. I apologize, is that he should make subtle references to her as the vice president. Madam Vice President, say as many times as you can, and to make it so it doesn't make it sound like she is not the incumbent, or the administration that is the incumbent, because I will say that is the one thing I can give her credit and the DNC credit for, is that the ones that are loyal to them, that they have made it a perfect against Trump, just because of Trump being Trump and everybody who hates him, but they're making it to be like he is the incumbent, and they have done a great job for their base in doing so. So I think just the subtleness, Madam Vice President, just being very polite and being Trump, because I think Trump has learned a lot over the past at least 2 months with all the interviews that he has done, because he's done exactly what you said. He circles back. It's like, well, let me first say this, and then he'll come back to the original question. He did that a lot with Sean Ryan and Theo Vaughn, however you say his name.
Theo Vaughn, yeah, no doubt. So, you bring up an excellent point that Trump should address, and I forgot about it, but it's true. She's running around talking about on her stump what she will do when she becomes president of the United States, and I've repeated the question for a long time on this radio. Why aren't you doing it now? Oh, first day we'll do this. Why not now? First day we'll do this. Why not now? First day we'll solve the immigration problem. Why not now? Oh, we're going to solve the inflation problem. Why not now? Oh, we're going to stop price gouging. Why not now? Why not now? Why aren't you doing it now? If you claim you can do it on day one, you could do it now. You just wake up sleepy, mentally incapable Joe and tell him to sign a piece of paper, and off you go. Why not now? Tommy is next in Dixon. Hey, Tommy.
Hello?
Tommy, you there?
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Good. First thing, I just want to say I've been listening to y'all's radio station for a while, and I didn't know what y'all look like till today, and y'all look a lot different than y'all sound.
Oh, are you watching on Super Talk TV today?
Yeah, this is the first time I've watched.
Tommy, I'm not anything to, there's a reason I'm on radio, Tommy.
Dude, Dan Mandis looks like a nerdy Mr. Clean.
Okay. What about Mr. Hand? Let's just go through the full range. Johnny B's looks pretty awesome, doesn't he?
All right, let me look up a picture. Let me put you on speaker.
All right, put me on. Yeah, we got nothing else to do. Why not? Let's just go ahead. Let's put us on speaker. I'm just waiting to get to Ken Weaver. That's what I'm looking forward to. Are you still there, Tommy?
Yeah.
Okay. So Dan Mandis looks like a nerdy Mr. Clean. That's pretty good. All right. What about Johnny B?
All right, let me look it up.
Well, I mean, I don't want you to, it's only a 3-hour show here, Tommy. You know how it goes.
He's typing in Johnny B and then clicking images.
You're gonna get Chuck Berry. Well, what about? Have you seen a photo of Belle Kay lately?
Nope.
Probably won't either. What about Ken Weaver?
All right, I'm looking him up. I didn't have this plan.
Look for real tall and good-looking folks. You'll find her right there.
Tall, slender, and handsome. That's him.
What is he?
Tommy, maybe we should plan this out off air and figure it out. What are you watching the show right now?
Yeah.
What about me? What about me, Tommy? How am I looking? Am I doing all right over there?
You look like if Peter Griffin grew out his hair and a beard.
Who's Peter Griffin?
Family Guy.
Oh, Family Guy. Okay.
Look, Tommy, I'm fat. But
You ain't that fat.
I don't know that I'm that fat. I mean, I'll take fat. I don't know about that fat. How about this? How about, you know who Dean Cain is?
No.
Dadgummit, Tommy, you're killing me.
Played Superman on TV.
Yeah, he played Superman on TV. I'm like Dean Cain's fat younger brother. Is that one? That's pretty good, right?
Older brother.
Older brother? I think Cain's older than me. He's just better looking.
Late
You don't
40s.
think so? All right, I'm going to fact check you. Tommy, God bless you. We'll do it again. Thank you for watching on Super Talk TV, though. I do really appreciate it. You can watch on Super Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, by dialing us up and saying hello to us. Dean Cain is 58 years old, Chief.
I don't believe that.
And I'm looking at July 31st of 1966, bro. He's older. Dean Cain's older than you.
Yep.
58? Are you kidding me? Yeah, 58 years old. Gary, you'll be last up on the debate because I'm going to switch over to Tyreek Hill in just a moment. Hello, Gary.
Hello. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course.
Here it is. I think Trump, just a little wisdom here maybe. What he needs to do is just say, okay, I heard what your policy is, changes and all. But why are you adopting what I've done? What is my record? I mean, is it possible that you agree with me? I mean, and were you the one that made the decision for Afghanistan? Because I would have never done that. So how do you change your opinion there? You're going to change your opinion and admit it was wrong? Because everything else you're trying to say to the American people is, I was right. And besides that, if I'm right, why don't you just do it now?
No, I fully expect, Gary, and I think you're on target with this. I fully expect that Trump will find a point to interject in the conversation. I'm glad she's changed her position and now agrees with me on the border wall. I'm glad we got her over there. And I wish she'd have agreed with me when they first got into office because we would have completed the wall. Instead, they dismantled the wall and allowed, and then you go into your immigration rant, right? But you can start it by saying, she agrees with me now on the immigration wall. She's using images of my wall in her political advertising.
Checkmate.
I love it. Absolutely love it. If you stay on issue, if you stay on economy, immigration, and crime, economy, immigration, and crime. EIC. Wait a minute. I get immigration, crime, and economy. ICE. How about that? I like this now.
I think that's already being used.
Immigration, crime, economy. And repeat. Immigration, crime, economy. They all three work together. Immigration, crime, economy. If you want to throw in a little foreign policy, let's do that too. You want to throw a little in Afghanistan disaster, let's do that too. But immigration, crime, and economy. Policy, policy, policy. You can get your zingers in. You can go low as you want. Kamala Harris is going to try to go low with you. She's done it before. She knows how to get low. If you know what I mean. 2:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we return, I have no compassion for Tyreek Hill. If you have watched the body cam footage of the police officers in question, yes, there is a point that I do believe the officer could have de-escalated the situation, but none of it, where it started and where it went, was on the officer. All of it was on an entitled, egomaniacal narcissist named Tyreek Hill. More coming up in just a moment. You know, pests pose a significant threat and danger to your property. They can cause disease. They can cause property damage. It is imperative to ensure that any threat pest infestation is dealt with quickly and effectively through U.S. Pest. Now, I would tell you that you ought to use U.S. Pest for all of your pest control needs because they're great American patriots. They believe in this country. They've built a great business on that belief. They treat their employees well. That is all a fact. Erica and J.K. are good people, and they have grown a tremendous company in Middle Tennessee. But that's no reason to go to a pest control company. The reason that you empower a pest control company to come to your house with regularities because what they do works. And when it comes to bed bugs and ticks and brown recluse spiders and roaches and mosquitoes and all of the other bugs that you want to keep out of your home and off of your property, U.S. Pest is better than anyone in the business in getting this done. Let's schedule a free consultation, a free inspection today. They're not going to strong arm you. They're simply going to provide you superior service at a quality price. USPest.com. That's USPest.com or 590-1260. 615-590-1260 for our friends at U.S. Pest.
Nashville got a vehicle fire, and it is blocking the right 3 lanes of 65 northbound at I-24 North, exit 88. And then Congress is back in session. I'll prove it. I've got lots of politicians to play for you at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, don't run them off. Golly, Ken. Ken's like, hey, politicians coming, switch right. No. Y'all stay here. You'll love it. Ken's really good at what he does. And even though the politicians will be talking with us, it'll be all good coming up in about 5 minutes or so. All right, Tyreek Hill. Oh, before I get to Tyreek Hill, one other thing on the debate tonight. When Donald Trump talks about issues, he should remind the American people that, A, Kamala Harris won't sit down with the mainstream media, even friendlies. She did one 16-minute interview with CNN. One 16-minute interview with CNN. And she's not sat down with anyone else. And I don't think she has any real plans to. They are trying to fabricate a victory, and they are trying to create a candidate almost out of whole cloth, recreating her into an image that can actually win an election amongst middle Americans. People that don't pay that much attention in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or Michigan, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina. Those are the states that are in play. Those are the battlegrounds. So as they create this candidate, they're being as obscure as they possibly can be. They're trying to talk in these word salad clips that she is now infamous for. Well, they didn't have an issues page on their website for a long, long time. And they finally put one up the other day. We mentioned it. Did you know, according to Breitbart News, that that's basically a lift off Joe Biden's website? So Vice President Kamala Harris simultaneously is trying to distance herself from Joe Biden, and at the same time, they're so lazy, they apparently just copied and pasted from Joe Biden's campaign site to their campaign site to their issues page last Sunday. 7 weeks after she entered the presidential campaign, they are so lazy they couldn't come up with somebody to write up her own issues page for them. She finally posted a set of policies Sunday after weeks of criticism for not having one on her website. The policies were published 48 hours before the presidential campaign's first and likely only debate. The New Republic, a left-wing outlet, reported Monday, and I'm re-reporting from Breitbart's story on it, that several parts of the new policy section were lifted from Biden's website, even including material that called for Joe Biden's re-election. The article was entitled, by New Republic, Embarrassing Copy-Paste Plagues Harris's Launch of Policy Platform. Quote, shortly after Kamala Harris released her policy agenda Sunday evening, users on X spotted something in the metadata. Much of the language was lifted from Joe Biden's campaign website. X user Corrine Green pointed out that in the issues section of the website, it contained metadata with language urging voters to re-elect Joe Biden. The language was visible when links to the campaign site were shared. I mean, so her campaign policy language is copied and pasted from Joe Biden documents? What a joke. While the language calling for Biden to be reelected was eventually removed, the New Republic said that the Harris campaign failed to live up to the claim that her issues page represented a, quote, new way forward. It was always going to be a very close election, they wrote, even after Harris replaced Biden. But the tightening of the polls over the last week point to a failure in her campaign. Well, she's the bottom line, folks, she's inauthentic. If she presents her authentic self to the American people will soundly reject her authentic self. Say what you will about Donald Trump, and I know there's a lot of criticism. The man is who he is, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. And I forgive the mistakes because I know he is who he is. He's an honest person. He's an honest person. He presents himself as the person he is. Do you believe that about Kamala Harris? Do you? I doubt it. Even if you're voting for her. I know you know that she's a managed entity. And this is just another example of it. It is 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and we got a problem in traffic right now. It is caused by what is reported to be a vehicle fire, and it's going to be a problem if you're trying to get out of downtown going north. You've got the right 3 lanes blocked, 65 northbound, right there at I-25 or I-24 north, and it's backing up both the north and the east loops around downtown. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. We're also monitoring reports out of Nebraska. At least one victim from a shooting at a high school in Omaha. The victim is a 15-year-old student. The shooting suspect reportedly in custody there in Omaha, Nebraska. And right now in our nation's capital, Congress back in session, and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo testifying before a House subcommittee on the COVID-19 pandemic, blaming federal policy for deaths.
There is no reason why we lost 1.2 million people, more than any country on the globe, when we have the most sophisticated medical system.
Now, Republicans say it was reckless for Cuomo and his administration to readmit nursing home patients after they contracted the virus, and they've released a 48-page report on it. Members talking about how to fund the government. This is Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who says there's a lack of funding for work visas and funding for border security.
It's not serious for Republicans to say they want to pass a CR that fails properly to fund E-Verify, H-2B visas, border security. These guys talk about border security, but they don't fund it.
Well, Speaker Mike Johnson's pushing for a 6-month short-term funding bill that includes a measure that would require people to provide proof of U.S. citizenship to vote. And Speaker Johnson hosting a ceremony honoring the 13 service members killed during a terrorist attack at the U.S. military presence ending in Afghanistan in 2021.
The families who are here I know many of you have yet to hear these words, so I will say them. We are sorry. The United States government should have done everything to protect our troops. Those fallen and wounded at Abbey Gate deserved our best efforts.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
When it comes to large home repairs, homeowners want to pretend that nothing's going wrong because if they pretend that in their own minds, they don't have to deal with it, right? But those windows that are sticking will not go away on their own. Those doors that are sticking will not go away on its own. If you smell a musty smell in your basement or crawl space, or, God forbid, it's coming up through the floors, that's not going away on its own either. If you have waterproofing issues or foundation issues, you need to address these real quick with USS, United Structural Systems. If you have some foundation or waterproofing work done, you want the peace of mind knowing that it's done by the best, and you get that with USS. They have over 25,000 residential customer testimonials, over 25,000 satisfied customers at USS. That is a guarantee of success for you, that you'll handle the problems and you won't have to be worrying about it in the future, and you will not be overcharged in the present. That's what it's all about. USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call 615-488-7855. 488-7855 for USS. Hey, folks, it's Matt Murphy for Nashville Safe House. Nashville Safe House is located on 4th Avenue South in beautiful Nashville, across from City Cemetery. Mark of the Safe House wants to help protect those things that protect your family. That would be your guns, right? If you have guns and do not have a gun safe, it is time to get a gun safe from Nashville Safe House. They have the best. They have Browning. I mean, they have Champion. They have Rhino. Any brand you can think of, they have them. They've got great fire ratings. They've got a great price point for everyone, a size for everyone. They have vault doors. They have tornado shelters, and they have safes. And that's what they do at Nashville Safe House. They are the safe specialists in Nashville and in the Southeast, really, in the United States of America. So I encourage you to get over to the Safe House and peruse their incredible selection of safes right now. Over 200 in stock and over almost 400 in the warehouse. So that's almost 600. I do math. Almost 600 available for you to be delivered by their professional delivery crew. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com or 4th Avenue South in Nashville. All right. It is the Matt Murphy Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're just waiting on this debate tonight, man. I mean, anticipating it as if it were Christmas morning. Yes, of course we want to open our presents. No, we do not know what's going to happen. We don't know what we're going to get. Look it. Anything can happen. I didn't anticipate. I don't know that anyone anticipated that Joe Biden would flounder and fail as badly as he did June 27th. So this could be very good for the Trump camp. It could be negative for the Trump camp. I expect, this is my final say on this, and I'll get to Tyreek Hill. I fully expect that the media is going to want to give Kamala Harris and the Democrats a win. They were unable to give the Democrats a win after Joe Biden's disastrous performance. She would have to fall flat on her face for the mainstream media to give her a failing grade. So the deck is already stacked against Trump in the eyes of the mainstream press. The deck is already stacked against Republicans before a single word is uttered. But I don't know that that matters. What matters is that voters in Georgia and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin and North Carolina and Arizona. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, I've officially added North Carolina to my list of battleground states because of the voting there and because of the polling there. There's 6 now, and North Carolina is a major player. I want the voters to see the two candidates clearly and to know where they stand on these issues that matter to them. Pardon me, I had to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. There is an epidemic going on in America with regard to traffic stops. And Tyreek Hill is a product of it, and it is going to exacerbate it. There are many young Americans, well, young people generally, that seem to think that when they are stopped by a police officer, that they don't have to do what the police officer tells them to do. That they can do whatever the hell they want to do, and they dare the police officer to say anything about it. As a matter of fact, I suggest to you that we've allowed this as a society. We have not drawn a line in the sand as a society. So much so that sadly, there are people in our midst that if they get pulled over, they don't look at that as a negative. They look at that as an opportunity. If I'm combative or belligerent with the cops, maybe the cops will get rough with me and, ooh, it's a big payday for me now. I am glad that we have body cameras on most of our police departments around the country now, because way more than laying blame at the feet of cops, they exonerate them. Good police officers are appreciative of these body cameras as well, because good police officers recognize that it protects them as much as it protects the people that they have sworn to protect and serve. I have seen over and over again police officers exonerated after individuals claim and scream racism and bigotry and mistreatment and brutality, and over again. With very few exceptions, and there are a few exceptions, obviously. We know every single one of them. The police are exonerated when charges of racism or bigotry or brutality are leveled against them because of their body cameras. Now let's talk about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill was going in excess of 100 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. Tyreek Hill was lawfully pulled over by motorcycle police officers on a stretch of road that was posted at 55 miles an hour. The body camera footage that was released immediately shows that Tyreek Hill was belligerent with the police officer at the time that he was pulled over. Now, understand something. That police officer has no idea who he's dealing with, and it doesn't matter. Now, what I could do, and I was going to do it, and I ran out of time. Do you know the number of videos? And I want you to listen closely here. I want you to put your critical listening ears on for a moment. I could play you at least 10, maybe even 20, probably even more than that. But I know of 10 videos from dash cameras and body cameras of police officers who were killed because they didn't take police stops seriously, or they let their guard down in some way, or they gave these individuals the benefit of the doubt. Where a police officer stops a person and the person doesn't comply with orders, the person doesn't do what the police officer tells them to do, and before you know it, that person has grabbed a gun out of their car and they've shot and they've killed a police officer. There is a video from a dash camera that is used in officer training in which I believe he's a deputy out of Georgia, pulls over a man who was a Vietnam War veteran and had mental disability, who would not do what the officer told him to do, and eventually just went back to his truck and got a rifle and shot and killed the man right there. And you listen to him die. I don't give one damn about Tyreek Hill and his complaining. You refused to do what you were told to do. Now, the officer had a time where he could have de-escalated or escalated the situation. And the officer chose to escalate the level of force necessary to facilitate a lawful stop and to make sure the area was secure. That's what the police officer did. Yet, we see yet again with the Tyreek Hill situation that apparently it is the position of the political left and the mainstream media that a black man can do anything they want at a traffic stop. They don't have to comply with any orders given to them by the police, regardless of the police officer's color, because he's not black, he's blue. He's not brown, he's blue. And they will never be held responsible for the consequences of their own actions. How is that a society that respects law and order and respects the people that put on the uniform every day and get out there every day and risk their lives? They don't know what's going on. The dude rolled his window back, wouldn't roll his window down. Immediately when he did, was yelling at the cop for don't bang on my window. He was knocking on your window to get you to roll it down because he could not see inside of your car because of your black tint on your window. The reason that he can't have you rolling that window back up. Do I need to explain this to people? I guess I do, because Tyreek Hill gave him his information and then rolled his window back up. The guy knocked on the window. The cop said, you need to roll your window down. You need to leave your window down, because we can't have you reaching around in your car, potentially doing something that might kill us, because we don't know who you are. And he refused to comply. So you know what he got for his trouble? He got drug out of the car. So I would say to you, I know what's going to happen. I don't know that they'll fire the cop, but they'll put him on administrative leave and they'll suspend him. They'll do some sort of, we gave him a talking to and he has to go through retraining. This police officer, yes, the police officer decided to escalate the situation by removing him from the vehicle when Tyreek Hill refused to get out of the vehicle when he was told to. And I understand that police have to be right 100% of the time. You know what could happen the 1% of the time that they're wrong? They die. They die. Is it wrong when we find bad cops doing bad things? Of course it is. But it does not excuse the actions of Tyreek Hill. And I don't care who he is. And I don't care what color he is. None of that matters. When you are pulled over he knew he did something wrong. He knew how fast he was going. But he is an entitled brat who has always been treated in a different way than everybody else. And he expects that level of treatment by the police too. Well, you don't get it. It is a damn shame that the police have not immediately defended their cops. Because what Tyreek Hill does is this sends a message to you and to me and everyone else. Just don't listen to the cops. To hell with the cops. Just whatever they tell you to do, they don't have a right to do that. Roll up your window when you want to roll up that window. That'll work well for you. Just, do whatever you need. Would they tell you to get out of the car? You don't have to get out of the car. They tell you you're going to get a ticket. You don't have to. They tell you to get, and these other guys roll up. They don't know who these people are. And it doesn't matter. You don't get to roll up and stop your car in the middle of the road and demand the cops stop doing their job because your homeboy needs to get to a football game. I'm telling you, folks, this message that we're sending, and I'm not worried about Tyreek Hill, and I'm not necessarily worried about the cop, but I am worried about the message. Hey, young people, don't worry about the cops. Don't worry about law and order. You don't have to respect authority at all. You just do what you want to do. And if they get in your way, or if they arrest you, you just scream racism. You just scream bigotry. Giddy up. That'll get you out of it. Because the mainstream media won't have the backs of the police officers doing their job. What the hell if Tyreek Hill had hit somebody and killed them? Then the media, where's the cops? Why didn't the cops stop him? Makes me sick. All right, rant over. I warned you that there would be rant pants. I hope I wore them proudly. We'll speak with Brian Wilson, who is on location at Scoreboard Cedar Creek. We're anticipating this big debate, and it's coming up. Brian Wilson coming up next on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I love where we work. I love the fact that we have compatriots that focus on different things. I just had, you know how we will go to the sports people and we'll I was trying to get you to turn that down for a minute while I finish up, and then I'll go to Brian Wilson. I'm sorry, I was getting distracted, but I'll tell you what, I'll tell that story later on. Let's go to Brian Wilson right now. It's 57 after the hour. Brian is amassing at Scoreboard Cedar Creek, getting ready for his big show and the big debate tonight. Brian, what is happening?
And believe it or not, people have already started to show up here at Cedar Creek Marina. That's right. We have a few people who are straggling in to watch the early part of the show, which, of course, is the best part of the show. And so we're happy to have people come by. We're going to be here all the way, of course, through the debate tonight. And we've been at this venue before, and it's always been a good place for us to hang out. So come on out a little bit later tonight. When you get off work, wander on down and hang out with people who are watching this debate who sort of see the world the same way that you do.
I was just reflecting on our stablemates over at the sports station. You know, when there's a big sports contest, sometimes I lean on them. I go over there and go, hey, what's going to happen tonight, guys? I've had two of them come to me and go, hey, Murphy, what's going to happen tonight? It was like,
yeah, that's a rare thing.
Right.
They know who you are? I didn't know.
Well, I mean, but yeah, they were looking for you, but they took me. I just played it. So, I mean, you know, that's kind of what everybody's anticipating what's going to happen, especially on the heels of the last debate when I don't know any of us expected that Joe Biden would flounder in the way that he did.
You know, I think it's hard to underestimate the importance of this debate. I mean, you know, the polls pretty much, you know, one poll you see Harris up a little, the next poll you see Trump up a little, but it's basically deadlocked within the margin of error, to be sure. And so it's hard to underestimate the importance of this debate and how it could be the inflection point that actually decides the outcome of the election. And people remember these iconic moments from debates. And so we're going to be watching very close tonight to see who scores the biggest point, who has the most memorable line. Does anything that happens tonight sort of change the numbers in any significant way? Beyond this, I don't know of anything on the horizon that has the potential to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean, obviously the vice presidential debate's on the horizon, but that always, you know, if it fails to live up to the moment of a presidential debate. I know you'll be talking about this, Brian. Anything else on the docket today during the drive?
Well, I actually wanted to say that I heard your last commentary about the situation with the football player who's pulled over, and I actually had the same exact thought. I mean, why was the police officer put on probation or on standby? Because to me, when a police officer taps on your window and asks you to do certain things, the correct reaction is to comply. Right. And you would do that and I would do that. And the fact that he didn't do that is what caused this thing to escalate. And you're right. I don't think people think when they see this, they see a police officer shouting and it makes them angry. Why was he shouting? Why did he need to shout? Why was he so angry? Because they have to get their attention.
Well,
and
they don't know what's coming
really
next.
Are on the line in these cases.
They don't know what's coming up next. I know what's coming up next, though. It's Brian Wilson in the drive right after Ken Weaver's newscast live from Scoreboard Cedar Creek. We'll be there tonight. See you then.